It's time for another episode of Hops and Hedges, where we talk about beer, landscaping, and everything in between. Season 1 is proudly sponsored by ext.tech, helping you grow and revolutionize your landscaping business. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. There you go, recording in progress. With me today, Matt McFarland from, I'm totally blanking. It's Growing Season Canada. You're in Bolton, Canada, here in Ontario,
I am
right?
in Bolton. Yep, born and raised, Bolton Boy.
Bolton Boy? I had to look that up. So you're towards Canada's Wonderland area.
We're actually slightly north of Canada's Wonderland. Yeah, so it's great because, especially for like jobs in Toronto, we just hop on the 400, down we go.
Nice. And so do you go to Canada's Wonderland a lot or not so much?
Okay, you know what? Canada's Wonderland, we used to do this. This was like when you were a teenager. When I had a girlfriend, when I was younger in my teenage years, it was the place to go for like all day. This was sort of the first like non-chaperoned by parents all day date.
Right. Yeah.
And so then I broke up with her and hadn't been back to Wonderland in about 20, 25 years.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
no, not 25. I'm old, but I'm not that old. And then when we had kids, it was back to Wonderland. So in the 20 odd years, things had changed. It was no longer Paramount Canada's Wonderland. It was just back to Wonderland again. So,
I remember when they changed all the names. It's like what used to be the Italian Job, which was one of my favorites. I thought that was so cool.
Yep.
And I forget what they call it now. It's something stupid.
I don't know. Yeah. We haven't got there yet because my kids are young. So we're sort of like, anything big and scary, we're not there yet.
Okay, got to work their way up to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. That was such a segue, but this is going to be a great episode. So Matt, I am so excited to have you on the show. You actually have your own podcast, and it's the same name, right? It's The
Growing Season.
Thank you, The Growing Season. No, oh my gosh. So I've been following you guys on Instagram for a while. I follow your podcast. So freaking cool. So I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Cool.
For people who have never heard of you or Growing Season Canada before, who are you? What do you do? Why are you amazing? Just
okay.
The world.
Well, first of all, on the amazing part, I'm going to have you say that again with my wife in the room. My name is Matt.
It's being recorded, so it's going to be on the internet.
Wonderful. And you're sipping a beer, right?
I'm sipping a beer.
Okay, I'm not sipping a beer tonight. I'm having a nice Glenlivet 14. I'm a Scotch guy, so we're going to do this together.
Excellent. Cheers to you. Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second, so that's all right.
Wonderful.
Okay, who are you? Why are you awesome?
No problem. My name is Matt McFarland, owner of The Growing Season, which is a design install company. However, there's a media side of it. We have a radio show called The Growing Season. It just made sense to call it.
Yeah.
That is syndicated across Ontario. I'm also on the Weather Network doing some of their horticultural spots. And as of last check, The Growing Season was one of the top home and garden podcasts in Canada. We're also heard worldwide, which has been interesting in that I do a lot of international landscape design because of the spread of the show.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And so have you been, so the
It was
Growing
cool.
Season,
actually, so the
like your company Design Build started in 2019, and how soon after did the podcast start?
Okay, so I started on landscape sites. Actually, I started drafting landscaping when I was 6. My dad owned a landscape company, and he had his drafting table, big drafting table, and he bought me my little drafting table. And on Sundays we would sit, and it was the cutest little thing. So on Sundays we used to sit with the Blue Jays game on, and he would draft and I would draft. So I was drafting at age 6, on job sites at age 10, and then took my dad's landscape company over in the early millennium in the year 2000 after getting out of Humber College's landscape tech program. So born and raised into a landscape family, but by about 2006, I actually got away from it. Music was another passion. I spent 14 years of my life touring professionally as a musician. I sort of had to sow some other oats, much to the dismay of my dad, and always said I would get back into landscaping when I began to miss it. It was all I ever knew. There was no job outside of horticulture, so I needed to sort of sow some oats. But what ended up happening was, along the way with the music, I'm a drummer, or was a drummer. That's
once a drummer, always a drummer.
Yeah, yeah. But I actually crossed paths with a sideline reporter for the Toronto Blue Jays. I was teaching his son drums, and we became friends. He started up a podcast, and I got a crash course in broadcasting, which led me into radio. So long story short, what ended up happening, the radio station that I was working for and still am working for wanted me to come on for 17 minutes a week to do a little radio hit for homeowners about landscape design and how to work with the landscape contractor. And I declined only because I was up to my eyeballs in radio and I wanted no more radio.
Yeah.
But my dad, who had to leave the industry because of health issues, I said, listen, Dad, like, this is for you, man. This is your thing. You can get on 17 minutes a week, just talk about whatever you want. And he's like, nobody wants to hear the old man talk. And I'm like, what? So I knew I had him. I was like, you know what? I've got him. So about 48 hours later, called me back and said, okay, explain this. And so I just told him. And then that little 17-minute hit turned into a 1-hour show. And then that 1-hour show began to get syndicated and the whole thing. And how I got back into landscape construction and design is because of the radio show. What ended up happening is it's sort of, Heather, have you ever been on a first date?
Yeah, couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know how on the first date you sort of, it's like feeling each other out. Can I stand another date with this person?
Right.
They eat with their mouth open. They
smell
order
funny,
white wine and
chew weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was sort of like, I said, so what ended up happening was because people were listening to the show, we would get contacted for consultations. And I was like, okay, I can go and consult. So I get on the site and I hadn't expected this because they've heard you on the radio. You take the first date out, it's gone.
Yep.
They sort of got to know you, right? Well, even with your show here, I'm sure you've got clients that are listeners and you've taken the first date out of it. And then so you do the consultation and then the next thing out of their mouth is, do you design it? And I was like, okay, I get back into some design. Yes, okay, no problem, right? Do. Yeah, I happen to know how to do that. And then from there, you go back and from my years doing it with my dad, I knew how to estimate and the whole thing. And the next question inevitably out of their mouth is, do you build it?
Build it.
And I was like, okay. So back into landscape construction. So I sort of fell into it. It happened in a very strange way, and I would have never been able to correlate music and landscape construction and broadcasting, but that was sort of the confluence of everything.
It's interesting how sometimes we come back, right? Like you kind of go out and you meander. Yep. For me, I was theater, right? So I love performance and public speaking, and I love that. I just today, actually, I was talking to friends of ours, and I keep saying that I think my life's purpose, if we all have a life's purpose, if I had to put a name to it, mine is to make people smile. Yeah. And if I can just do that and make somebody's day a little bit lighter, man, that's a good day.
Well, but the other thing too is that, again, the theater, like for you, in it.
Oh, breaking up there.
Sharpening your sales chops because, sorry. Got me now?
Yep, you're back.
Got me now?
I got you now.
So with the theater, what you're doing, perfect. So with the theater, what you're doing is you're sharpening your sales chops, right? Like you're sharpening, and I'm saying that authentically. Like part of the job of the sales is to make people feel comfortable very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're doing with your theater chops. Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah. And it's the improv, it's the being comfortable talking. Yep. I don't get thrown off very easily. So, sometimes you're with a client and some people say some weird stuff. I mean, we're humans, right? Yep. And now it's just, it doesn't even faze me. It's like, okay, I didn't realize that was a question that somebody would ask, but let me say it without judgment, right? Because I'm not thrown. And it's like, let's figure this out together. And there's been some weird stuff. And I've only been in business for going on 4 years now. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool. So what a great, so you were like born and raised in landscaping, got out of it, found radio broadcasting and music, and then came right back to it.
Yeah. And I think for me, here's part of the issue. My dad, at one point was a legend in the industry. And I didn't believe him. I thought it was just the ravings of a wily old coot. So what happened is he went back to school for like a refresher course at Humber 5 years before I did. And then I went to Humber, did the exact same course. So when I went to Humber, I walked in the classroom and they said, oh, Matt McFarland. I'm like, yeah. They said, is your dad Jack? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, ooh. And so I didn't realize, I thought it was was just embellishing. But they collectively told me that when he was in the class with them, they were terrified because they thought, A, their industry knowledge was old, or B, that this guy was sort of making a note of all their mistakes. So
Right.
it was, I think I needed to get away from out from under his shadow. And that's not to say that it was a bad thing, but it's just when I came back to landscaping, I came back kind of on my own terms and began to do things my own way. So it felt good to be able to say, this is what Dad has taught me. This is what Humber's taught me. And now I can meld it and mold it in a brand new way. And it's really interesting now because he's very actively involved in my landscape designs. And I've twisted and turned his way of doing things to sort of mine. So it's this sort of, now you're taking the master and going, let's go this way a little bit.
Ah, yes, the master becomes the student.
That's it. Making rocks levitate with your hands.
Excellent.
Right?
I love it. Use the force. Yes.
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 Yeah.
You have absolute power.
That's it.
Never
Love
done
it.
that on a podcast episode
No.
before, so this is one of a kind.
For sure.
So,
everything needs to be about Star Wars impressions.
I love
right?
that. Yeah. I'm going to have to learn some more, though, for the next one, right? So,
For sure. Done.
You mentioned before, but I'm wondering, before we get into more of it, what are you drinking?
Yep. This is a Glenlivet 14. I'm a Scotch guy. And this is actually, I could have pulled the 18 out, but the 14 was there, which is good. And if my wife would allow it, I would have been puffing on a Cuban cigar in the basement here, but she will not allow it. So
no cigars in the basement. You know what?
No,
I understand
not
that.
allowed.
Nope.
Yeah,
Gotta take that out. So you got you got the Scotch and you got the cigar, right?
Yeah. Which is perfect. That's the pairing.
Yeah. I always said the good Lord gave me two hands for a reason.
That's right. That's right. And it's
cigar.
funny. Didn't Mark Twain say it? If there's no tobacco in heaven, I shall not go, or something like that.
It sounds like something that Mark Twain would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Too funny. I'm drinking an IPA. That's not really a big surprise. I think there's been one podcast episode where I had something different, and it was a weird one.
Okay.
But this is Sweetwater Brewing Company. I think it's out of Georgia, but they also have brewing in Quebec. And as far as I know, it's just called IPA. Like Sweetwater IPA. Clean, simple. It's a little darker. Like usually I like the lighter. It's got very rich in flavor, but I'm liking it.
So I have an IPA story for you. And when you sent me off the questionnaire, I responded with this. So I spent 2 years on air doing a show called Drinks on Us, where here's a concept. The concept goes, myself and a co-host love imbibing. Now that does not necessarily mean alcohol, because I am an espresso nut. I love espresso. I love a good cup of coffee. Yep. I'm a coffee snob. So we would have all of the big guys come in. We had Molson come in. We had and then all the craft guys. I hate IPA. Hate.
Okay, we can still be friends.
Hate. Okay.
Got it.
But so this sort of got out. So when they would bring the IPA in, my co-host loved it. And I was like, she can taste it. I'm not into it. So yes, you can have it. Heather, you can have all the IPA. You can be like Motley Crue, right? You can have their drugs, your drugs, everybody else's drugs. You can have everybody's IPA.
Perfect. Yeah, just send them my way.
Yep.
Bring them on.
Yes.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Yeah.
And so, but when you do drink beer, because you have had / will probably again, which beer is it?
I'm a Stella Artois guy. I love it. I love that. I mean, I know as cliche as that sounds, I love a good lager. Beer's a good beer. I love it. A good beer is a good beer. I love a lager. I love a pilsner. I'm McFarland is the last name, so Guinness is a big deal. Not so much Guinness here. Guinness in Ireland is a freak show. It's fantastic. But yeah, I find less beer these days. You know what? If I was to have something that would be out of Canada, Creemore, they're like, I love it. I love that. Actually, it's funny because when you held up your beer, it looked like the color of a Creemore. I'm like, she's drinking a Creemore. Look at that. It's sick. Yeah. It's fantastic.
And Creemore actually has an IPA too that I would say kind of has a similar, I can't think of what it's called right now, but every once in a while I get it at a restaurant. Yeah. And they're like, well, we have a Creemore IPA. And I'm like, is that something that I like? I can't remember. And then I get it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Creemore is tough to go wrong with. It's fantastic stuff. It's absolutely great. Yeah.
So on your questionnaire, I asked you about your favorite outdoor place or location or place to visit. And you said the Rockies. So do you go regularly?
Yes.
Do you have a spot there? Is there a story there? What's the deal?
So
I mean, they're amazing. I've been myself.
yeah. So okay, so I'm not really much of a beach guy, never have been. And in fact, my wife isn't much of a beach girl. So for me, the ideal vacation would be a log cabin in the middle of Montana in the middle of a snowstorm. That's just my deal.
Wow.
I just love it.
Snow.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, like deep, heavy, wicked snow, right?
Okay,
But
well, you don't like IPAs, but you love snow, and I might have
I
to
love
draw the
snow.
line there.
Okay, well,
I don't know if I
yes.
can do that. It's getting
Snow's
intense over here.
But if you've never seen, sorry, have you seen the Rockies with your own two eyes?
I have.
Okay, I mean, you know the deal, right? It's
Yeah.
like a religious experience. It's especially someone like we work with a lot of natural stone, and I find that you just become kind of a, I don't know, kind of a geology nerd, right? But when you see these things coming out of the earth, and like people say, oh, the Hamilton Mountain. It's not a mountain. That's a hill, right?
Yeah.
And then when you see the Rockies for yourself, like with your own two eyes, I mean, I was born and raised Roman Catholic, but I'm not practicing. But there's a religious, like that makes you believe in a higher power when you see something that insane coming out of the earth.
It moves you.
It does.
You know,
There's something, yeah. There's something stirring inside of you when you see that. As well as I was touring, we spent a lot of time touring throughout that area. And a lot of really, really cool stories out of that area where you're just like, wow, this surrounded by mountains. It was super cool. Nothing like playing in Jasper or Whisper. It's pretty impressive stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny too. You talk about being a geology nerd, because I've got a thing for natural stone. Always have. But even as a kid, like I remember, and still do, actually, I haven't really grown out of it, but whenever I go to the beach, because I am a beach girl, but I don't want to go swimming. I don't want to go sunbathing. I want to collect rocks. Like I am a 37-year-old woman, I think 37. I don't know.
You do not look 37, girl.
I am. Thank you. I just got ID'd yesterday. So
yeah, I haven't.
But yeah, I have a big sun hat that I wear, and I have actually, I don't know if you can see it because it's on the floor, but see, like, what are those? What's that white basket thing? You know that janitors carry?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
Is that your rock basket?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So I am on my way to 40, and I still have a rock bucket.
That's
and
okay.
Like a sieve, and I sieve through the sand, and I find rocks.
That's fantastic. Good. Yeah, no,
maybe it's an addiction. I should maybe see a therapist. Not sure yet.
That's okay. Listen, you could have worse problems.
That's what I say.
Yeah,
listen, I don't have many vices, and if collecting rocks and drinking beer is it, you know what? I'm not doing so bad.
Yeah. Right? Again, there could be a lot worse. Right?
I know. I often say, well, I could drink beer or kill people.
Yeah.
You know? So it's not so bad. But anyway. I don't know if that's too violent.
Or you could both.
I could do both. Right? I have two hands.
Yes. Cool. No, I'm into M&M, so it's fine.
Oh, jeez. This whole episode is going to get banned. Jeez.
Yep.
That's too funny.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good. No one's sworn yet, so we're good. This is fantastic.
And you know what? There is an episode out there where somebody swore, and it wasn't me, and I'm not going to say who it is.
Really?
There is an episode out there, and it's not been flagged yet. So the podcast police have not taken it down yet. But,
yeah, and you don't have a 7-second dump, do you?
Like
a 7-second delay, a 7-second dump, a dump button?
I don't know what that means.
So in radio, you have a 7-second delay. So if someone says something wildly inappropriate, you press the boop. Yeah, so you press the big red button, and it automatically jumps you back to 7 seconds before, thus wiping out what was said. It's pretty cool.
Okay,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's good to know. No, I don't do any editing, nothing fancy. I like to keep it real.
This is grip it and rip it, right?
Grip it and rip it. There it is. I was just waiting for it. Man, that's a good phrase. I love that. I'm gonna have to put a little disclaimer every time I use it. I'm like, brought to you by Matt McFarland.
That's right. I need some royalties on the back of your shirts for your cruise. You should get grip it and rip it.
Grip it and rip it.
Yeah,
I love that. Okay, so back to some questions. So, group of plants on your questionnaire. You mentioned Heuchera and Festuca. Yeah. So I've got a Festuca question for you.
Yeah.
When do you cut them back? Do you cut them back? Because the older they get, they tend to look messy. So I am doing something horribly wrong. So tell me about it.
So what I do is, yes, I cut them back. I don't ever actually cut them. What I do is I actually rip them. So in the spring, you know how the bottoms of them, the bottom layer of grass sort of gets that like
thatch almost.
Yeah, it gets this thatch. So what I basically do is I basically rip off the thatch layer off the bottom.
Okay.
And in the springtime, and then they basically go from there. I do sometimes, if they are getting kind of stringy and long, I'll actually what we call ponytail prune them. I just grab them.
Yep.
Grab my trusty Felcos and just give them a snip.
And that out.
And they just sort of do their thing. Yeah. We find Condon Nurseries literally emails me every year and said, listen, how many hukra, or sorry, how many, well, that too, but how many Festuca can we expect to be needing this year? Because
that's funny.
Yeah, they email me, and it's just a matter of like, I have customers that just adore these things. They actually call them sea urchins. So we plant a ton of them, and we use a lot of natural stone in the flower beds, and they just look fantastic.
They just pop.
Natural stuff. They do. It's just, and it seems so simple and it seems so easy, but it's just one of those things where I put them on one drawing, and then the client's like, "What is that thing?" And I'm like, "That's a Festuca." They're like, "Can I have that thing?" So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So what are you using software? Are you doing stuff by hand? How are you doing that?
Yes.
Good answer. A little bit of everything. So depending on work and project and whatever.
No. So what ended up happening is I was the last class at Humber where they taught on the drafting table. So I had years and years of experience prior to that on the drafting table. So when the switch over for CAD happened, it felt alien to not have a pen in my hand. So what I do is I do the base plan. Actually, I do it on regular AutoCAD. My wife is an interior designer, so we have AutoCAD in the house. Okay. So I do it up on just regular CAD. I don't use Dynaescape. And then what I do is I export that and drop it onto a graphics software. And I use a large tablet with a pen. It's like a Wacom tablet. And I shade it all and do everything on the way. So all the fancy stuff is done on the Wacom tablet. Just because I've tried it without, and it felt like a part of the process was missing when I didn't have the pen in my hand.
Yes.
So that's how I do it. And then it gets transferred over to a bunch of graphics program. And even when I go to bring the designs into the clients, when I first got back into this, I thought, okay, very simple. Like, just bring the laptop in with a PDF. And I had a bunch of clients that were older in years, in their elderly years. And
they want paper.
They want paper.
Yeah.
So I get it done old school, classic 80s stuff. I get it blown up, and then we do a big color photograph PDFs for them to show them the flowers. And that's sort of how it goes. So I'm probably dinosaur in some ways in that I'm still using the pen, but it felt wrong. I have that pen in hand when I had such a relationship with Stellllllaaaaaaa for so many years. It just felt wrong. So this is how I'm doing it.
So, and is that Adobe? Like, are you actually like the graphics? So if you're using a tablet pen in the Wacom tablet, what are you drawing in? Which software?
I do it. In Adobe Illustrator. I've also done it in Sketchbook. It's again, like, what I am using on the graphics, program is probably like 1% of what it can do.
Yeah.
It's just that I need the ability to erase. I need the ability to shade. I need the ability, like, even like when I went to school, my design teacher, he was an absolute wizard with the chisel marker. Remember the chisel marker?
Yeah.
Like the marker that has the chisel end on it.
It can do so many different things depending on how you hold it.
Yeah, so he would do his stuff up, and like, if he was doing the lines on a patio, he would slightly go over the line and this and that, and it just, everything looked like like a hot rod. It was like architectural and just beautiful and sloppy, but not sloppy and perfect.
Expressive.
Sorry?
That's expressive. That's what I've always said.
Completely. Yeah. So the graphics tablet allows me to mess around with the chisel tips and all this stuff. And it feels like a landscape design. It just feels like it. It doesn't feel, I don't know. There's something cold. I feel like if it's just done on the CAD, and again, this is just me, but I'm not knocking how people do it, but there's just something more, I don't know. There's more depth to it. There's more whatever when I can get my hands in there and actually work. It's the same reason why, like, I'm on job sites. I'm on every build, and the reason is I won't sleep at night if I feel like my job's being installed the way that I don't want it to be installed. So
yeah.
So I like, and I have a wonderful foreman and a great crew, and I just like, it's just.
Sometimes it's just the little things. You just need another set of eyes, right? To go in there to look over.
Yep.
I'm a little bit of the OCD side of things. And so I've turned hostas before because they're not facing forward.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but plants have a front and a back.
They do. And a top and a bottom.
Right? They
right?
do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, heaven forbid, don't plant something upside down.
Well, yeah.
Then I know that there's a problem.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you talking about the digital versus the hand and needing a pen. Because I feel very fortunate. So I did the landscape design at Fanshawe.
Cool.
And the first year was all hand graphics.
Good.
Because they really wanted us to have a foundation as to how things look and how things fit together and get a feel for it. And then it wasn't until second year where we got into CAD and Dynascape and SketchUp.
Yep.
And even now, like I primarily use SketchUp in my business, but I love doing things by hand. And I think not only is it expressive, so right, all of those certain marks that you can do by hand, that the computer is so perfect that there's no emotion. It's just flat and it's
completely
cold. And when I see a blueprint drawing in CAD, yes, it's very accurate, but it has no feeling or I'm not attached to it. It's black line on a white piece of paper. It's great for as a construction drawing, but when you're selling a design, this is somebody's home, right?
I agree. I totally agree.
They are passionate about it. This is something they're going to look out their window all year, usually. And it's something that they really care about. So there's an emotional connection there that you just can't do in CAD.
I agree. It's the same as, again, when I was involved in music. I mean, the big trend, the reason why the 1970s albums sounded so big and massive is that, like, in music, when you're recording, they have something called a click track. There's like a metronome going click, 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 and that's heard in your ears, right? So what would happen is you'd have the drummer that was playing slightly ahead of the click track, okay, and then the bass player was playing slightly behind. So what that's doing is it's taking that click and you're increasing the size of it. It's making things bigger. And then the guitarist is in a slightly different spot, and the vocalist, and so on and so forth. And that's why in the 70s, everything sounded so huge, because they weren't what they call quantizing it. So for your listeners, all that means is you can now digitally snap every single hit right perfectly on a grid, which is great. Everything lines up beautifully, but it's also making everything sound super thin. Right? Because everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. And so for me, on a landscape design, there's a certain degree of humanity, or almost, I hesitate to use the word, but sloppiness when it comes to the graphics that give it this life. It's almost like watercolor. You see how when watercolor is sort of out of the lines and this and that, that's what I'm going for. Like, I want that. It just makes it expressive, right? So I just can't get the pen out of my hand.
I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Like that's the thing. So I'm all for hand graphics. I think I've got a Wacom tablet myself. I just haven't actually opened it out of the box yet.
Oh, they're so much fun.
So, okay. Time to play.
Yeah. Seriously, it's so much fun.
So favorite houseplant?
Oh man. Croton.
There you go. The crotons?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think that, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not very good with the idea of houseplants.
Okay. So so the
colorful
croton,
foliage.
Yeah. It looks like it's got it almost looks like the indoor version of of like a caladium or or coleus. It's like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I find that with houseplants, there's a whole lot of green going on, and I get it. You know, they're usually for like indirect diffused light, so they have to have as much green as humanly possible. Right. But there's just something about the croton looks like it should be growing near a volcano or something just weird, right?
You know what? I just realized. So I just got a new houseplant.
Okay.
We're just gonna get cut off in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna stand up and get my houseplant. I'm wearing pajama pants. Don't judge me.
Okay. No problem.
It's gonna be worth it. Hold on 1 second. At least I'm wearing pants.
Yes.
That's not it. Oh my God, where is it? Hold on, stand by. That's funny. I also have plants in the hallway because I've run out of room in my studio.
Is it African violet?
Let me put this in. I hope you didn't say anything inappropriate while I was gone.
No. Is it African violet?
It's not. So I have a thing for begonias,
Okay.
but
What?
I'm not sure if you can see the spikes on these leaves.
Holy cow.
Isn't that freaking epic?
What the heck is that? Looks like it's from Mars. What is it? That's fantastic.
Yeah, so this is a begonia. It's a type of Rex begonia, but let me just pull up the actual because I'm not going to remember. Begonia ferox.
Holy
So,
jeez.
and yet it still has the
monster.
label on it from Hemans. So thanks,
Yeah.
Hemans. But I
Holy-
saw this and
Yeah. You
yeah,
have
it looks
to.
like a freaking dinosaur.
That is awesome.
I know.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was totally worth showing my pajama pants on the internet.
That's okay. So I have a pants story. You ready for hear a pants story?
Lay it on me.
So my wife is part of a team that is in the process of redesigning the Parliament buildings in Ottawa.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
Parliament buildings.
Yes. Yeah. Now,
Just this
granted,
little place you might have heard of.
Yeah. It's a slight landmark, right? So when I'm off in the winter, I will routinely walk around. If it's just me and her in the house, there might be just, a t-shirt and boxer shorts. I'm off in the winter, whatever.
Yeah.
So she says to me, hey, by the way, today, is there any chance that you can wear pants? And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, the prime minister might be on the call today and I'm going to close the door. But if the door happens to be open and you walk by, maybe I'm like, pants. I'll wear 2 pairs. But yeah, pants.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen there's a few videos swirling around the internet during COVID where teachers are teaching from home virtually and their spouse walks behind like either naked or half naked or with pajamas and they just I'm with a class full of elementary students.
Yep. That was the Wild West there for 2 years, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? You're on mute. I can't see you. All of this stuff that we learned through Zoom. But now, look at the things that's opened up.
It's
right?
This.
I would have never thought that I would have. I mean, I knew you could do it with the internet, but I didn't realize how normal it would become.
Yeah. Well, even too, you probably do design presentations virtually. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, and I do them internationally too. So I mean, just with the States, so far. But that's been really cool where people just find me online and they're like, there's actually there's a pool company in Illinois that's reached out to me a couple times.
Cool.
They're like, we love doing the pools, but we really hate doing the plants. Yeah. Can you here's the plant list from our nursery. Can you just do up a plant plan and I'll just do it all virtually, which is pretty cool. So let's see, what time are we at? We have so many things I still want to talk about. We're gonna have to do a part 2. That's just what this is coming down to. So I am just this has been so awesome. So I'm going to see if I can squeeze in a couple more things before my timer is super weird right now. It's saying I have 715,000 seconds left or something.
Okay. That's
not
good.
Doing a regular countdown. So if we get cut off, it's because I have no idea how much time we actually have left over.
No problem.
So I also wanted to talk to you about doop. That's not what I want to talk about. Hold on. Let me scroll down here. So for your podcast, so what you have, and they're mostly they're pretty tight episodes, right? They're really quick snippets. And I love that you have this whole color thing too about that's really cool. Check out the website. It's awesome. Your website too has a lot of nice things to look at, like your video and the imagery. Your website is tight. So I don't know if you're responsible or if you have a designer, but it is tight.
No, that's all me. And
kudos to you.
Yeah. And again, for me too, it's a selling point, right? You would probably know it too. If there's pictures of the jobs that you've installed, the client doesn't need to ask about what your work looks like. There it is. Yeah. There's no There's no ifs, ands, or buts, as well as too, like we have a testimonials page, like that page gets hit a lot. And the reason is that specifically when you're getting involved in landscape construction, you know, the client wants to know that A, this person knows what they're doing, but B, what is an experience like working with this person and having them underfoot for a deal of time, right? So especially on the larger builds, the big ones, you know, these clients want to know that this person knows what they're doing, but also that they are going to be okay with having this person in their space for weeks upon weeks, right? So testimonials is great. But yeah, I try to keep all of the design build stuff, the portfolio updated. I actually bought a drone, like a DJI drone last year, and so awesome. Yeah, it's super cool. It was just an excuse to buy a toy, but I love it. We actually, it's so good. But we fly the drone through during the build phases, and you can see all the different phases of the build, and then of course on the end, it's the big blowout, right? So
yeah, it's funny you talk about it's a good excuse to buy new toys. The drone. I started the podcast as a good excuse to drink beer in the afternoon.
Is it? Yeah. That's fine. So, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny too, like, you know, it's a good reason to have a business. My wife's like, you already have a masonry saw. Why do you need a second one? Well, I mean, this one's bigger and it's got a 14-inch blade and it's bigger.
Absolutely. Bigger's better, my friend. Not always.
Bigger's better. Yes.
Not always. Anyway, we are not going to end on that note.
No.
I want to know, can you recommend out of all of your podcast episodes, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Oh boy.
Is there something that is memorable or something that you're like, there's a lot of information in this one? Or like, is there a favorite or a theme that you're like, these are good?
Holy cow. The ones that get hit a lot every year we do in and around Valentine's Day, we do a sexy plants show. There's about 4 of them out there, and it's like aphrodisiac plants and plants that are either purported or reported to have aphrodisiacal qualities, which is super cool. That's the one that got me hired by the Weather Network. I was actually trying to get them to avoid that one because I was worried. That's hilarious. You know, it's not the most politically correct thing, but they wanted to talk about that one. So
that's awesome.
Those are fun. Yeah, we try to weave. The show is very, very fast paced. We get to probably 15 to 18 plants per show, but it's super fast paced. A lot of sound effects. It just moves very, very quickly. So you almost need like a notebook because we try to ram as much information as possible. Perfect. Well, that is how we're going to end this. So check out the Sexy Plant Show podcast episodes. That's awesome. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've been, like I said, following you forever, and it's so cool to actually talk to you in person, but virtually. That's okay. Yeah, this is the new norm, Heather. This is the new norm. Okay, well, let's do it again. Thanks for having me. And stick around, and hopefully we'll do a Matt McFarland part 2. I'm in. Excellent. Thanks again, Matt. That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.